Oh, what is Yupskis, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the GXHockeyCast. We're on episode 143. Nazim the Dream, Nas the Cause, Nazem Kadri of My Little Hockey Show, where once a week I go through all the major news and what's happenings around the NHL, mainly semi-focused in on the Leafs and Flames, but I'll be discussing all 32 teams on this podcast. And holy jumping, y'all, we are in it right now. This playoff race is getting wild, and at the fucking front and center of it, the Ottawa Senators. Wow. All right, y'all. Ottawa, let's talk Ottawa. This is the best run the Ottawa Senators have been on since the Hamburglar run back in, when was that? Was a long time, was that the 2017? Doesn't matter. It was legendary. The Hamburglar, Andrew Hammond, comes in and just goes on one of the greatest goaltending runs I probably have ever witnessed. I don't remember what the record was, but it was in it 17-0 or so. He went off, and the Ottawa Senators went off. And the strangest thing is, they had a night recently, friggin' honoring that Hamburglar run. Andrew Hammond was there. They honored him. They have a big old thing. And the Senators have been white hot ever since. They're in the top wild card spot right now. And fuck, if the Leafs don't get their shit together, they might freaking get into third place. Who knows how far the Senators are going to go right now, but they are on fuego. They're on fire. Let's get in there and discuss what is going on right now. And the answer is clear. It's the Hamburglar, man. It's the blessing of the Hamburglar. I don't know. I'm not a big McDonald's guy. I enjoy a McDonald's once a year or whatever, but you got to get sponsors in there. We got to get the Hamburglar. We got to get mascots. We got to get Andrew Hammond in the building all the time. He's a great good luck charm, but it's not just the Hamburglar and Andrew Hammond's presence that's getting the Ottawa Senators going here, man. It is. So there's a lot of things. So Dylan Cousins been going pretty freaking good for this guy so far. And are we shocked? Is anyone shocked? The guy who left Buffalo, who was struggling, but had all the skills, and it's just not happening. He leaves Buffalo, and he's great again. He's just dandy. So he debuted with 9 hits or something. He has just been a hitting machine for the Ottawa Senators. He wasn't doing that in Buffalo. He's scoring big goals. He's got, I think, 4 points or something since he got here. He's not crazy point a game, over point a game, but he's getting more points than he was in Buffalo, and he's getting big points. He looks happy. He looks rejuvenated, and getting thrown right into this wild card chase, this insane Eastern Conference chase into the playoffs, and possibly the Senators' first appearance in the playoffs in a very, very long time. Oh my goodness, this has been just the shot in the arm that Dylan Cousins needed. And I feel really bad for Norris, but don't worry about it. We're not talking about that. But it's not just Dylan Cousins, man. Dylan Cousins coming in here looks like a great fit, but a whole bunch of other pieces of the team are coming together right now. Fucking Allmark. Who didn't see that save? Holy shit. I saw that highlight at work, and at least 4 people in that break room went, we all just gasped. Holy shit, what a fucking save that was. Absolutely ridiculous, man. If you hadn't seen it, it was just Allmark, completely out of position, perfect pass across, wide open net, and Allmark dives over, makes the ridiculous glove save. Man, that's, I can understand that haunting. I forget who he saved that on. It was, doesn't matter. He saved it on someone, but holy jumping, man. You're going to lose sleep over that. You had a wide open cage, and that glove, it's not that big, man, and you shot it right into that freaking glove. The ridiculous. But Allmark obviously has been a fantastic fit for the Ottawa Senators. Now, you might look at his record and his numbers, be it's not insane. He's got a good save percentage, a .910, which actually is this year quite good. The save percentage around the league's going down a little bit, not insane, but when you see a goaltender with an .897, we don't go like we used to just a couple of years ago. Just a below 900 isn't the worst anymore. Still not good, but it's not get off my fucking team bad. There's quite a few goalies that are rocking that, but with Allmark right now, he's got 35 games played, 18, 12, and 3. So, not the craziest record, but he's definitely making major saves and winning the Ottawa Senators some games that they might not be winning. 910 save percentage, like I said, is quite freaking good for this season. Like, that's quite high. Even this Levi Marilainen, he came in there and was playing fantastic with a 925 save percentage. Forsberg, like I said, he's got the 896, which isn't great, isn't good, but it's not so bad that you cannot play him. He's got a under 500 record in 23 games, 9-10-1, but he's managed 9 wins. But hey, I'm looking at this Marilainen guy. That's pretty impressive. He's got a substantially better record. He's got the best save percentage on the team. So yeah, there's something there with that guy. Well, right. Anyway, but Ottawa across the board, kind of like they're just solid across the board. Goals for, they're 17th, just under 3. Goals against, they're 12th, which is pretty good. And Jake Sanderson, man, he has been playing very, very well. Not a lot of talk now after he signed that contract, that big 8-year extension. Everyone went crazy, myself included. I was like, holy shit, like, I didn't watch a lot of him, and yeah, I reacted like that too, but man, is that ever looking like a bargain. And the way that the salary cap is going up, Jake Sanderson is on a bargain of a contract. He's playing fantastic, 66 games, 46 points. He has a minus 15, hasn't been amazing every game, but just lately, he has been turning it on, as well as Brady Tkachuk, man. Brady Tkachuk, after the 4 Nations, he's back healthy now. Healthy enough, anyway. I don't think anyone's 100% right now, but he's playing very, very good. Drake Batherson's having a nice season. Stützle's having the big bounce back. And underratedly, man, I know they called him out. I think it was on 32 Thoughts I heard this, but freaking David Perron, man, he is starting to make a pretty big impact for the Ottawa Senators right now, and this guy is a playoff man. He could make a huge impact for the Ottawa Senators. I almost forgot that they got him. Got underrated, sneaky good pickup for the Ottawa Senators. Now, he's only gotten into 29 games this season and only 11 points. It's not insane. He's an older guy, but he's a fucking gamer, bro, so watch out. Ottawa Senators, man, they are in a great position right now in terms of statistics, or in the standings anyway. They're in a pretty nice spot. Like I said, they are in range to possibly usurp the Toronto Maple Leafs. Now, they are still 6 points behind the Toronto Maple Leafs, but the way that the Leafs are playing, yikes. So, with that being said, I guess we can, is that enough flowers for the Ottawa Senators? Can I do more? I feel like I want to do more before we trash on the Leafs a little bit here. But Ottawa 7-2-1 in their last 10. Now, they did just lose their last game, but man, they're one of the hotter teams in the league right now. Ottawa, goodness gracious. So, yeah, I think that's enough for their flowers. We'll get to the other French-Canadian team in a moment, but I teased the Leafs, so we'll talk about the Leafs, who have not been playing very well. 4-1 in their last 10 games. They did finally win a game here after just disgusting, man. Just a disgusting performance after the last few games. They're very bad. Getting outshot, getting outplayed, just not good. Now, there is, like I said, we got new guys coming into the lineup here, and Scott Laughton still not looking very comfortable in this lineup, still trying to find his role. Like, is it that hard? Like, we just need you to be the third fucking line center. Be that guy. Be defensive. Score a goal every here and again. Like, is how much more definition do you fucking need? But he has been a Flyer for his whole career. But, all right, there's an adjustment period. This is, hopefully 18 games is enough for how many more games they got to figure this out. Okay, so what's his name? God, I'm blanking right here. Brandon Carlo. Here we go. So, the Morgan Rielly dilemma here, y'all. I'm really, it's a very uncomfortable conversation. I really hate to have it. But is Morgan Rielly the problem? Now we're giving this man quality players on his right side. Brandon Carlo is a quality, he's fine. Like I said, I knew of his deficiencies from hearing it from the Boston crowd for the last few years. Like, this guy makes defensive boo-boos, and he makes defensive just what the fuck are you doing kind of mistakes. And I'm like, oh, great, this guy's going to fit perfectly with the Leafs. But it was more glaring with his salary cap and stuff like that. But Brandon Carlo, what made me nervous is that, like, okay, this guy, even in that big of a role with Boston, a smaller role, he's coming into a bigger role with the Leafs, and that is to be the partner of Morgan Rielly and to get Morgan Rielly going, because he is having the worst season of his career, man. Like, who knows? Like, this has just been rough. Like, he's got some goals, but his point production is just in the bin. He has been playing terribly, and that's all people are really talking about right now is like, okay, can you cut bait with Morgan Rielly? He's got the full no move, all that stuff. But again, I don't know why people are like that. That doesn't make trades impossible. Like, if you make it known to Morgan that they don't want him anymore and they need to move him, then he'll go. Like, you're not going to stay there if you don't want to be wanted. It's just not a good environment. You will end up leaving at some point. So, if Morgan comes out and he plays amazingly again in the playoffs like he did last year, is it going to be enough? Because it saved him last year. Like, he didn't have a good year last year, man. Like, it was not the best. Definitely better than this year, but still not great for Morgan Rielly. Everyone's still looking for that 20 goals and 70-plus points. That was 1 year. It was a career year, and I just don't think Morgan Rielly is capable of doing that again. He's only done it once, and he's never been. That was just a hell of a fucking year. So I think we need to just get off of that, because that's done. Now he might, at least for the Leafs, he could leave and go somewhere else, and they can put him in a role in a different system, and who knows, he could get a whole bunch of freaking points again. But I don't know, man. Like, they've been trying, putting all these different partners with him. Like, you thought Tanev was going to be the guy. He ends up sliding down and pairing with McCabe, and now they got a great shutdown line. You got Ekman-Larsson, who at times has taken the role that Morgan Rielly has on the power play. So it's like they've already played with the idea of not having Morgan Rielly around, and yeah, man, his role is getting smaller each season, and they're getting other defensemen that arguably are better than him. Now, maybe not offensively, but as an overall defenseman, probably better than Morgan Rielly. Like, who would you rather have? Like, do you want Ekman-Larsson in the playoffs right now? Do you want Morgan Rielly? I don't fucking know right now. All I know is that it's going to be a hard conversation it's going to be a really hard offseason if it just, well, who knows? Hold on. So if the Leafs theoretically go down in the first round, which at this point looks inevitable, Florida looks incredible, Tampa looks incredible, fucking the Senators look incredible, Washington looks unbeatable, everyone in the East looks better than the Toronto Maple Leafs right now. Is there an Eastern team right now that's I mean, even the fucking Montreal Canadiens are on fire. We're going to talk about them, but the Leafs look like the worst team that is in a playoff spot right now in the East. They have been just not good. The goaltending's starting to fall apart a little bit. Now, I don't blame Stolarz, because they're just giving up ridiculous amount of chances right now. They're getting hemmed in their zone. They're getting 4 shots in a whole entire game. They're just not getting any chance. They're not shooting. Matthews has just been, what the fuck, man? Like, of course, the year I draft him, he comes off a 69 fucking goal season. I draft him. What do I get? 25 goals? I still get shocked when I see that. I'm like, wow, he is just really not having a season, eh? Now, clearly, he's hurt. He's been hurt the whole entire year. He's having secret trips to Germany or wherever the fuck he's going to try and fix it. And clearly, whatever he's done has not ailed him. He's still dealing with something. And I think it's wrist, shoulder. I think it's an abundance of things, honestly. Now, they may not be ultra mega serious because, well, clearly not. He's playing, but he's taken a beating, man. Now, a lot of people are suggesting take him off the fucking penalty kill. What are you doing? Like, take this guy off the penalty kill. Like, yeah, he's fine there, but it's an unnecessary thing to do, especially now you have Lawton, you have Kampf. Like, he can play the center penalty kill thing to give Matthews some fucking breaks. Like, geez, man. And they have been recently. They have lowered his ice time a little bit. He was playing, like, I think down into, like, the 17 minutes there. So that's good. Take him off the penalty kill. He doesn't have to be there. Mitch, too, like, doesn't have to play the penalty kill every single game. Like, you can use other guys. Like, I would personally prefer them to be using Lawton right now instead of Matthews. Take Matthews off. Give him a fucking break. Even give him some games off if you have to do the Kawhi Leonard freaking load management thing. I'm fine with that because at this point, the division title is gone. Like, no fucking way. They got some ground to cover now. Let me take a look, at those standings. I mean, they're 2 points behind Florida, and they have the game in hand. It's just the way that they've been playing right now has just sapped up, I think, Leafs Nation's confidence right now. And of course, they're going to go on this kind of slump at this point in the season where everyone else is ramping it up, getting ready for playoffs. They're playing like playoff teams. That game against Florida was a playoff game, and they did not show up. I mean, like, they played okay, but they, as usual, you have a win served up to you on a platter. They don't have Tkachuk. They don't have Marchand. They don't have fucking, who else wasn't there? They don't have Ekblad in there. Like, they are not fully loaded. And I know the Leafs aren't freaking fully healthy, but those are the games you have. When the pressure's on, y'all, that's when the Leafs start to crumble. Pressure's on, and teams are playing them hard. It's playoff style, and they're just not there right now. Now, it could be bad timing with the new guys in the lineup, and I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm clearly not feeling very confident about the team at this moment. Now, there are games to get it together. They got some time here. Not a lot. 14 games, I think, are remaining. They played 67, so that's 13 would make it 80, and that 15 more games. Math, everybody, math. So, yes, you can get the title. They can get the title, but I don't know. This team frustrates me, it really frustrates me, the last few losses. And of course, their latest win was an absolute thwumping of my Calgary Flames, which I'm like, well, there you go. That pretty much has, I would say, put the flame out for the Calgary Flames playoff run. And I commend the Flames, man. An absolutely sensational run for them. We can get into them, but Toronto first. So it's there for them. I don't feel good about it, the way that Florida's playing, and if you add in Marchand eventually, and if Tkachuk can make it back, it doesn't look great that he's going to come back before very soon still. It looks like he's still going to be out, but man, so Florida's on fire with the 7-3-0. They have lost 2 in a row, and Tampa 6-3-1. The Leafs 5-4-1. It doesn't look so terrible on paper, but if you watch the Leafs play the last few games, it was yikes. They did look really pretty fucking good against the Flames last night. Putting a beating on Mr. Wolf there. Hurting his chances at the Calder win, which I think he honestly should probably win. It's gonna, it's not gonna help if the Flames made the playoffs. I mean, I think he should have won it by default. But if the Flames don't make it, then yeah, it doesn't look like Dustin Wolf will get the Calder. But regardless, all right, let's go to the other wildcard team in the East that is making a surge right now, and that is the Montreal Canadiens. What the heck is going on? This is they have done this 4 times this year. They're out of the race, they're in the race, they're out of the race again, and across the board, they're not nothing special. They can score, they're 14th, they're scoring 3 goals, they're still struggling to keep the puck out of their net, they're 25th there, their power play's okay at 17th, 21.9, their penalty kill's good, they're 9th in the league on their penalty kills, so strange numbers, but you're getting great performances from Suzuki and Caulfield lately. It seems like since they got snubbed from their respective teams, Canada, 4 Nations, they didn't make the teams. They have been on fuego, and they are making very strong cases for themselves to make the Olympic teams. I would imagine Suzuki. Why not, man? This guy is kind of the closest thing I think you have to Patrice Bergeron. He's not there. Don't get me wrong, he's not Bergeron, but he's a fantastic two-way forward, and he's got 70 points in 67 games, 21 goals, 49 assists. This guy's awesome. I've always liked Nick Suzuki. And Cole Caulfield, man, he's broken through 30 goals, 61 points in 67 games. Yeah. And they got Lane Hudson, man. Lane Hudson, of course, after I dropped him in fantasy, he started to take off. He's got 53 freaking points in 67 games and 48 assists. That is phenomenal for a first-year defenseman. It's a good Calder race right here. It's Lane Hudson, fucking Celebrini, and Dustin Wolf, in my opinion. And, Michkov is there as well. I feel personally he's the 4th guy, but that's a strong 3 right there. Fantastic. Uri Slafkovsky's also started to get it going here. Jake Evans he got the contract extension, so they're going with him, man. And Patrick Laine, he's up and down. He's up and down, but the Canadiens are hot right now. They have been winning games, and let me just take a look at their latest wins here. So they're taking down some teams here. Well, some not so good. I mean, they shut out the the Canes. They beat San Jose. You got to win those. They beat Buffalo back to back. That's not easy to do. It is Buffalo. They're terrible, but it's hard to win against the same team 2 games in a row. It wasn't back-to-back, but it was 2 days in between. So 2 wins against Buffalo in a row. Lose to Edmonton. They lose to Flames. And they come back with a win against Vancouver. They lose to Seattle. But then they come back with huge wins against Florida and the Senators. That was a massive win for them against the Sens. They beat them 6-3. So that was a fairly convincing victory right there. So they're playing well. Can the Habs keep it going, though? They've been painfully inconsistent. If they can keep this run going, man, because they're hot right now. And they got a pretty decent lead on... Hold on, let me get the whole entire wild card picture here. So the Blue Jackets have really kind of just fallen off here, which is really disappointing, man. They have really struggled to find the back of the net. Like Marchenko just, I don't know, he was doing pretty well when he got back, but he has just gone ice cold, and he is kind of the straw that stirs the drink offensively for Columbus, it seems. And they just kind of froze up here, which is very unfortunate. The Red Wings are kind of just they're just falling apart. The Islanders are making a late surge, which is interesting. Even though they got rid of Brock Nelson, it'd be rather interesting if they made the playoffs. I very much so don't want to see them in the playoffs. I want it to be the Senators and the Canadiens, but then you got the Rangers as well, which arguably, like, they're a better team on paper than the Canadiens and the Senators. They got Shesterkin, they got superstars in Panarin, they got Lafreniere, they got a really good team. They just had a just brutal year, and JT Miller's there. So they're making a surge too, man. It's a very interesting race. It's a tough one. And the Devils, like, they're leaking a little bit, but they still have an 8-point lead on the Rangers. So I don't know if the Islanders or the Rangers could make it. I mean, they can, but the Canadiens are going to have to fall apart, and same with the Senators. I would much prefer to see the Senators-Canadiens in. That would be so sick. Be a really rough year for the Rangers, but I don't really care much about the Rangers. I'd rather see some new teams in there, and dude, 2 more Canadian teams added in there, that'd be sick. That would be unfreaking believable. And I don't know how 100% how this works, but I think it would be, if we started the playoffs today, I think it would be Panthers, or would it be Capitals, Canadiens, and then Panthers, Senators, and then I think it's Lightning and the Leafs, and then Capitals versus the Devils? The Devil! I think that's how it would go. All those playoff matchups are great, but what we really want, like, oh man, what do we want more? Would you want the Battle of Ontario, or do you want the Battle of the Kachucks more? Like, I think I want the Battle of the Kachucks more than the Battle of Ontario. Not that I'm scared of the Senators. I would absolutely take the Senators. That's a good matchup. The Senators have absolutely owned the Leafs, so maybe not. They have swept the season series this year, beaten the Leafs every single time. So, but that's kind of been the history where the Sens kind of have the Leafs in regular season, but there's a good playoff history there for the Leafs, where the Leafs always win against the Senators. Now, it's been a very, very, very long time since then, so I would not be shocked if the history changed, but it'd be nice if history repeated itself. I would love either of those matchups. Yeah, dude, it's going to be an insane first round. Lots of complaints already getting thrown around how, like, you're losing at least one cup contender in the first round, but so what? Like, that happens, man. It's not always a guaranteed that the 8th seed is going to defeat or get beaten by the 1st seed, especially in hockey, man. It is way more chance and lucky bounces in hockey than, say, the NBA. It's quite a bit more shocking if the 1st seed goes down to the 8th seed in the NBA, because it's not as lucky as the NHL, you know what I'm saying? But I don't think it really fucking matters, man. Like, regardless, you're gonna lose a big hitter in the first round. It's bound to happen, especially in hockey. That's the way Bettman wants it, and that's the way it's gonna be. So, whatever. There's some interesting matchups if you change it from, like, the 1 to 8 seed. I'm not gonna fucking figure out how to do that right here. But the Canadians, man, do you think they're going to stick around? I don't know, man. Fuck, man. That Carrier addition for the Habs, that was a fantastic move. Absolutely fantastic move. Ever since they brought him in, he's really solidified that young defensive core. And shit, man, if they had another piece like that, or two, like a forward like that, and another defenseman like that, maybe even a veteran goaltender back there. Like, they had Jake Allen. Maybe they can get maybe bring in a John Gibson or something. I don't know. But maybe bring in a veteran goaltender that can calm down Montembeault when things are getting a little fucked up, and maybe help Montembeault reach that potential and be a very consistent NHL starter. He's kind of up and down, right? So, but they got Dobish as well. Like, Dobish kind of looks like, that's the thing with goaltenders, man. Like, yeah, you can't predict a goaltender's future. It's too fucking hard. They're all over the place, but we'll see, man. I feel I'm very optimistic for them. I would love to see them in for this. I mean, it'd be so sick if I got a Habs Leafs first round. I would love to get that revenge for that crucial, devastating loss in the Canadian matchup during COVID. I would love for the Leafs to redeem that, and it would be a much better matchup this time around. There's a lot. It's a funner team for the Habs right now. With Lane Hudson and fucking Patrick Laine is there. It would be an insanely fun series, and that would put me up against my wife. And my wife's a Habs fan. She's not a diehard fan, but she just, if the Habs beat my team, she likes to rub it in. And when my team beats her team and I rub it into her, she's like, what? I don't really care. So yeah, she wins regardless. I'm the one that always suffer in defeat. It's okay, Leafs fans, right? That's all right. But looking fun, man. This race has been quite interesting, a lot better than in recent memory where it seems like playoff matchups are set. It's like, oh great, the Leafs are playing the Bruins, and we knew this in January. So at this point, we don't really know. We will see if the Leafs can recover. Is that big win against Calgary, is that the beginning of the turnaround for the Toronto Maple Leafs? I'd like to hope so, but it's the Leafs. So they always find a way to make things stressful. Am I right or am I right? So we'll see. Joseph Woll, and in terms with the Leafs and the goaltender thing, I still think it's Anthony Stollar's net. He's been the best. Woll appears to be the future. He's had some rough games. He's had some good games. He's a young goaltender. It's going to happen. He's not getting paid a lot, especially this year and even in the future. I'm very confident with that price. Even things go bad, it's not as bad as the brutal $5 million or $6 million dollar contracts that are if the goalie gets really bad, very difficult to move. Anyway, so I think that is how I wanted to. I did a terrible job discussing this race right now, but it looks like the Bruins are bowing out. Looks like the Red Wings again, like they're still there. Like that's kind of the thing. Other than the Sabres are really the only team in the Atlantic that I can say are Dunyan rings. They are fucking done. They are way too far gone. No way they're making it. The Flyers, they're done. The Penguins, they're done, even though they're making a late surge as well. Just can't see it happening. I would say at the Blue Jackets point, they're really, really struggling to get in there, but we'll see if they can make it, man. I'm rooting for them. And, obviously Blackhawks, Predators, Dunyan rings, no freaking way. Sharks, Dunyan. Kraken, probably Dunyan. Looks like Ducks, Dunyan. There's been a slight adjustment in the Pacific race, so the Kings have now taken the third slot in the Pacific over the Wild. I think it's the Wild, or is the Wild in the Central? Regardless, the Kings have gotten in there, so that's pretty cool. As every year now, but the freaking Edmonton Oilers always ruin it. I always put the Kings as a dark horse, like sneaky fucking great team, top to bottom, man. Like they got Byfield's going off. They got Anze Kopitar, just a veteran that does not end. Like, he's just so freaking good. Kempe, they got great defense. They got amazing goaltending out of Kemper this year. Like, they're sneaky fucking good. And if they are going to meet the Oilers this year in the first round, I feel pretty good this time about Los Angeles taking them down. So they've been steady all year, just been a really quality team, getting it done. Now with the wild card spots here in the West. So you got the Canucks and the Blues and the Flames, and I would technically throw in Utah, I guess, battling it out for that final wild card spot in the West. it's up for grabs, man. I mean, the Canucks, they're kind of all over the place. The Blues, they're hot. The Blues are hot right now. Let me see. How have they been doing in their last 10? They are 7-2-1. They're on a 3-game winning streak. The Flames are not the Flames. They are not hot right now. 3-4-3 in their last 10 games here. So, I don't know. It doesn't look very good for the Flames right here. Utah, they're 5-3-2. But St. Louis, they are pushing, man. They definitely have a chance to capture that final spot. They are right there with the Canucks. The Canucks do have a game in hand, and positive news for Elias Pettersson. He's actually been doing decently lately. Now, too late for my fantasy team. This one particular team that I had Pettersson on, we have missed the playoffs now, and too little, too late from Mr. fucking Pettersson. But hey, he's putting up some points now, which is, hey, it's something at least. And he's actually been decent lately, man. Like, it's just, like I said, too little, too late. But he's actually 5 games in a row he has put up a point. So that might be the best streak he has had since JT Miller got injured earlier in the season. Fucking Pettersson went off during that absence for JT Miller. He was phenomenal. I was like, oh, fuck yeah, here we go. And then Miller came back. The whole fucking story started coming out. All the trades happened, and he took a while to find himself, but he's starting to find himself now, and hopefully for the Canucks at the right time. Can the Canucks hang on to that spot, man? It's tough, man, because they've been inconsistent. The Canucks have. They don't have Demko. Yeah, it's gonna be a fight. And the Blues right now, they're the hottest team right now. So it looks like it's the Canucks and the Blues that are gonna battle it out. Could the Wild fall out and potentially miss the playoffs here with all those injuries? That would be devastating. I hope not. I hope that the Wild can hang in there, get everybody back healthy for a good playoff run. That'd be sick, because they were beyond hot at the beginning of the year, and thank goodness they were, because that has helped them maintain. But they have a good lead. They have a 6-point lead. They could get caught. They could potentially get caught. But the Canucks and the Blues, who do you think is going to make it? Now, me, as a Canadian, I would like to see the Canucks in there. Do I think they deserve it? Not really. They didn't do much at the trade deadline. Honestly, I think the Blues deserve it more. They made bold moves by acquiring Holloway and Broberg, and both of them have been slam dunks. Like, Broberg hasn't been as hot, but Holloway has been fantastic the whole entire season. He has been a stud. He's been fantastic. I mean, exactly what Edmonton would love to have, I imagine, right now. But that's been good. They brought in Cam Fowler, and for the sake of Cam Fowler, I'd like to see him go for a playoff run. That would be really cool. The Canucks are just a disaster. Who knows, man? I mean, if they squeak in, I feel like they're just going to get dusted by whoever they have to deal with in the first round. So maybe it would be best if the Blues make it in there. For the Flames, again, I don't think it would be very good for them to sneak into the first round and get dusted. Don't think that's going to do much for their future, but it's been overall an extremely positive season for the Flames. Like, I am beyond proud of this team and what they did this season. I like the moves that they made early before the trade deadline with Farabee and Frost. That looks like a good fit. And we'll see how it goes next year. They'll have more time, more training camp, and they'll be more comfortable. I think that's going to turn out to be pretty good. They didn't move off of Anderson or Kadri. They stuck with their guns. Did it pay off? Doesn't look like it's going to, because they're not going to make the playoffs, but I'm fine with them keeping Anderson around. He's a good defenseman. There's no real reason you have to get rid of that guy. Now, Kadri, if there was a taker, I wouldn't be devastated if they traded Kadri, just because that contract is going to get very difficult to move off of, I would imagine, later, but maybe not. Like I said, cap going up. Flames could retain up to 50% on that. Teams could get Kadri for just under $4 million or so. I think teams would do that. So I don't think Kadri is unmovable, but I'm happy that Kadri's there. I love Kadri. Shouted him out at the beginning of the episode with his number. So there you go. I would like the Flames. I think it'd be better for their future if they didn't make it. I don't want them to fucking just give up and bottom out, but hey, the lower you go in the standings, the better your chances are at a good pick. And there's some decent kids out there, man. There's some decent kids. You could get a good kid, good potential player in that top 10 if the Flames can get there. But like I said, like a lot of teams underneath them as well, man. Like you got Utah, the Ducks, Kraken, Predators, Blackhawks, Sharks, under 73 points. Over here, you got the Islanders, Blue Jackets, Red Wings, Bruins, Penguins, Flyers, Sabres. So, like, yeah, there's a lot of teams that are worse than the Flames this year. And coming in, I did not expect that. So I'm very proud of what the Flames did with this season. There's still season left. They could make a run. It just doesn't look very good right now. It kind of looks like they're running out of steam. Kind of looks like Dustin Wolf's kind of running out of gas a little bit here. But, hell, what a season for the Flames. So I'm proud of them regardless of what they do from here on out. I'm very happy for the Flames. So good on them. Good on them. And speaking of good, freaking good on ya, Adin Hill. You got paid, my boy, $37.5 million for the next, for a 6-year extension, coming out to $6.25 million per season. So pretty much the exact same as your standard 5x5, but this one's 6x6. And, I don't know, man. Like, yep, he looks pretty good. He's won a Stanley Cup. He got selected for 4. Did he get selected for 4 Nations? He didn't play, but he was selected. Probably going to be on Team Canada. It's a worthy contract to be given out to Adin Hill. We'll see how it ages. It could be great. He could be out of Vegas by the end of next year. Who knows? So these contracts are risky, but you know, with the track record so far, it seems like he's gonna stay in Vegas. We'll see how that goes. It's like I said, it's very difficult to predict a goaltending contract. They could be great. It could be an awesome one. I mean, with Vegas, the way that their team is, great defense, he should be fine. It should be okay. So there you go. Adin Hill, well done on you. All right, let's get uncomfortable. Let's start talking about potential upcoming restricted free agents. Let's start with you, Edmonton, and Evan Bouchard. Come on down. So he is currently only making $3.9 million. That was, I think, a bridge deal, 2 years, and it's time to pay the piper. Will the Edmonton Oilers do this, though? I personally recommend they do not. Bouchard will probably be looking at like $10 million. He's generally a point per game offensive-minded defenseman, clearly offensively minded. This is why I think the Edmonton Oilers should move off of this kind of player. You don't want to commit. So what Bouchard's probably looking for is probably an $80 million contract. 8 years, $10 million per. Boom, locked and loaded, bam, I'm done. Send it to the bank. And if you think his defensive play is bad now, imagine how bad it will get if he is locked up for 8 years. And yeah, so I think Bouchard is something that the Edmonton Oilers could replace. Like, think of a guy like Gustafsson, that offensive defenseman. You can find a guy that can fucking take a shot and make a breakout pass, offensively minded and no defense period. You can find that guy for cheaper than $10 million. There's guys out there. Think of a guy like Shane Gostisbehere, who has known defensive lapses, but he's a good offensively minded defenseman, where if you put him on the power play, you put him in the right situations, very, very effective. He started out really freaking good for Carolina this year, but, tailed off. Think about a guy like, what's that freaking guy that always gets kicked off of the team, but he's always got good offensive numbers, but he's a fucking douchebag, and that douchebag is Tony DeAngelo. But you think of guys like that, like they got all the offensive abilities, they could put up a whole bunch of points, but they're just a defensive liability. If you want to keep that, you want to have that on your team. I know he's got great chemistry, making passes to the freaking, to the stars, and he's got the Boosh Bomb, which is very good. I don't know if there's many players that can replace that Boosh Bomb. It's a bomb, but there are other players that can unleash a dart from the blue line. There are other players. Is there a possibility that maybe Edmonton looks at bringing in an Erik Karlsson on a retained salary and moving Bouchard off, and they can bring in Erik Karlsson, who they know offensively the dude can put up ridiculous numbers, and they can get him cheaper than $10 million at a retained salary, and he's going to do what Bouchard did, maybe not the Boosh Bomb, but he can move that fucking puck. Don't you worry. He'll put up a whole bunch of points. I think you could find a replacement for Evan Bouchard substantially cheaper. And I think it would go a lot better for Edmonton than to retain Bouchard's services. Probably, I mean, they're hanging on to him for this playoff run, but his defensive game has been abysmal. There's so many funny breakdowns on the Steve Dangle podcast on it, so I would recommend you watching those because it's hilarious how this guy just doesn't do it, and it's shocking for a guy playing at this level on a team that has cup aspirations, that were in the cup finals last year, and that is the effort you're putting out there, and you're expecting to get paid $10 million. And the crazy thing is, a team out there will absolutely pay that to him. If he hits free market, someone's gonna fucking Chicago's probably foaming at the mouth if they can get an opportunity to sign him on their blue line, and he'll be making those passes and helping out with the Bush bomb on the power play for that fucking Connor Bedard and shit. So there's going to be tons of suitors for a guy like Bouchard, but for a team like Edmonton with cup aspirations, I just don't see why you would want to keep Bouchard for that amount of money. Pay him 5, pay him 6, pay him maybe 7 for those stuff, but yeah, he's clearly not going to take that. So that's what I think he's probably worth for what a team like Edmonton would like to do, but so I don't see a future. I wouldn't be shocked, though, if they pay him. I will not be shocked if they pay him. That's just, they believe that he fits in great and he's great defensively. That's what they say about him. But, yeah, I don't think it'd be a good idea for him to sign. I see his future with one of those up-and-coming teams, San Jose, Chicago, on the blue line. Maybe not the Ducks. They're good on the blue. They have enough. Anyone, really. There's tons of teams that could use Bouchard and would be willing to pay him. And the only thing that may keep Bouchard around is the fact that Edmonton did give up on Holloway and Broberg with the idea that, okay, we got to sign this guy. But the way that he has played this year, I don't know if they're as confident in wanting to sign this guy long-term for big money as they were at the end of the playoff run. Because he had an amazing playoff run. He had, the most points from a defense. He had like 26 assists. He was amazing in the playoffs. So we'll see. He could redeem himself with a great playoff run again. And it's not like he's having a horror. He's got points. He's looking like he's not going to do as good as last year, but he's still putting up a lot of points. It's a tough one. It's a tough conversation. They haven't had a defenseman on the blue line putting points up like that since Paul Coffey. And Paul Coffey, if you don't remember, won a whole bunch of cups with the Edmonton Oilers. So, there's the lovers and the haters of Bouchard, but I think probably not the best idea to sign him long term. We got Luke Hughes. Holy jumping. This kid's already up. He's making league minimum, the 4th overall pick, and he had an impressive 47-point rookie campaign, and he is already in the top 4 for the New Jersey Devils. Making impacts, he hasn't been the most consistent yet, but he's very young as a defenseman, and he's already looking very good at his age, and considering how often Dougie Hamilton gets hurt, he's getting some pretty good PP time, I imagine, there as well. So what are we looking for potentially a Luke Hughes extension? Now, you're looking at guys, comparables for like Brock Faber. He got the 8 years, $8.5 million. Do we think Luke Hughes is worth that? You look at what his brother's done, and I've heard it in interviews that even the Hughes brothers have said that Luke, the youngest brother, is the best of the 3. And considering how good Jack and Quinn are, that scares the fuck out of me. And yeah, he shows flashes of being sensational. Now, what's he going to do? I mean, the Devils, I think, would lock him up 8 years, $8 million in a heartbeat. I think they'll run. They'll absolutely do that. So I think what would be best for Luke is a bridge deal. Now, Jersey fans probably won't like that idea because in a 2-year bridge deal, that could help them win a cup, right? That could help you win a cup. You pay them like 4.5, 5 something $million, maybe 2-3 year deal, something like that. Then you're going to pay the piper, but by then, hopefully you can move off of Dougie Hamilton, and there'll be time to make adjustments, right? So I think what New Jersey is going to do is the bridge. I think that's the right thing to do. Keep your young stars on a decent salary while you have superstars, I mean, you got Jack Hughes locked in amazingly, but you're paying guys like Timo Meier, you're paying Dougie Hamilton, you're paying other of the defensemen on your blue line. So if you can keep it down for as long as you can, but you're going to pay the piper, and it's good. Who knows how good he's going to get. Like, if he really does surpass Quinn on the blue line as the better defenseman, that's going to be an insane, paycheck for Luke if he gets there in 3 years. The way the salary cap's going, he could be like a $14 million defenseman by then. So who knows? It's looking like $8 million is what Jersey would like, but I don't know if they're going to get that, man. I would say bridging the defenseman. Now, it says here 5.1, so yeah, I could see anywhere of a bridge deal depending on years to like $4 to $6 million. If they can get him for 3, I could see it be like 3 years, $6 million bucks. Not bad, not amazing, but you got him for 3 years. So, and you would have to make sure that would take him to restricted free agency and not unrestricted, all that great stuff. But yeah, I think bridge deal is kind of the easy move right there. Now we got the New York Islanders and Noah Dobson. He's only making $4 million. That is fucking crazy. Now he's not having the season that he did last year where he had 70 points. He's been fucking 60 assists and all that. Now he's been injured and not having as good of a season. But without a doubt, right shot blue liner making... with all those points, this guy's clearing $10 million, right? Now the Islanders going to do that. They're gonna do that for him. I think so. I would think so. I think they'll pay him. They tend to keep their guys around. I know there was some rumors thrown out there that he was potentially on the trade block. He's still here. But it is general. The GM is Lou Lamoriello. So don't be shocked if he signs for like $3 for 80 years and Lou runs off into the sunset and that's his final move, his final hurrah for the New York Islanders. Gets Dobson on an amazing deal. But it's a tough market out there because like you got Makar, the best defenseman in the league, making what, 9.5. You got Quinn Hughes, other best defenseman in the league, not making enough. So who's going to break the mold? Is Noah Dobson the guy that is he going to be able to convince Lou that he should be making more than Makar and Hughes? I don't know if he's going to be able to do it, man. I could see an 8-year, 9.5, or equal or lesser than Makar. I think that's what Lou's going to force him to do. And I think he's going to fucking do it because he's going to have a gun pointed at his head. So that's what I think we're going to get out of Noah Dobson. Gabriel Velarde. This is an interesting one. I've had this guy all year long on my fantasy team, and he's a stud. Absolute stud. He likes to explode in offense, multi-point games, maybe goes quiet for a couple of games, and boom, 3 points. You're like, damn, son. But I was so, like, this is part of the reason why I was, like, so over the moon about the Dubois trade to LA, and Winnipeg's package was, you got this guy, you got Velarde, and others, but Velarde was the best part. And this guy, 3 straight 20-goal seasons. He's like, I think in and around a point per game. He's been on fire this year. He's 25 years old, center, right winger. Damn, son, how much is this guy going to get? I guess it kind of all depends on what they want to do. They also have Ehlers coming up here as well. So I honestly, I think they would probably go with Velarde at this point over Ehlers. Ehlers has been there for a while, and you know, he's always had this really, really high potential, and he's had some really strong seasons, but hasn't quite hit that pinnacle that I think Winnipeg was expecting out of him. And I think at this point, Ehlers is probably going to want more money than Winnipeg is going to want to give him, and they're probably just going to let him go. Or I don't remember if he's a restricted or unrestricted. Now, all these players are restricted, so they have the possibility of having offer sheets. Now, all the players that I've mentioned so far, I doubt or it's unlikely they'll get offer sheeted. They could. Absolutely could. Like, you could easily out offer on Bouchard. Like, Chicago can just be like, here's $13 million. Unreasonable. And Edmonton be like, see you later. Have fun. Here, give us draft picks. That'd be a terrible move. But yeah, I think he would walk before that would happen. Regardless, Velarde, I could see him getting over 7, probably in and around that $8 million mark, maybe. I don't know, man. It's tough with Winnipeg and how they're going to negotiate that contract. He could get offer sheeted, like he could Again, they could match it. It's all up in the air for that one. But Velarde is going to be very interesting because they have that decision to make. I doubt they're going to be able to keep both Ehlers and Velarde. I personally think Velarde is the better choice, but let me know. Who do you think the Winnipeg Jets are going to choose? So let's go off of the restricted free agents. Actually, no, one more restricted free agent. We have to talk about Matthew Knies. It's gonna be scary, man. I really hope they nail this contract and do a good job with this one, because this is like the next big contract for the Leafs that they need to get this one right. I would love to see him get locked up for 8. I don't know if he'll do it. If he's smart, he won't. If he wants to make a lot of money, he won't do that. But if he wants to be a good guy and maybe win a Stanley Cup with the Leafs, it'd be great if he signed like an 8x8. 8 years, $8 million. He's very comparable to Dylan Guenther, who, yes, he is. He's got more goals than him this year, but Guenther was injured. Guenther is the better goal scorer. He's more pure sniper, but we know what Matthew Knies brings. The beast mode. This guy packed on 10 pounds of muscle in the offseason. He's only going to get bigger, and he's only going to get better in the NHL. He's having a better season this year. Could crack 30 goals, all said and done, and what he brings, the size, the power, that's going to cost you, man. So I could see him getting more than Guenther just because Toronto tax, so on and so forth. So is it going to, I hope they can slide it in under 9. Better slide it in under fucking 10, or I'm going to I'm going to find an old oak tree and I will snap it in half. I'll be so fucking angry. But you got to nail this one. You can't overpay the kid yet. You gotta find a good deal here. I would love an 8x8. That's what I want. I would be happy with that. I think that would age brilliantly, and he would still be in for a massive payday at the end of that. That would take him to like 29 years old, 30 years old, and he would still get a big old payday. Maybe not by the Leafs. He might be all bruised up and battered by then, but I think an 8x8 would be amazing. Will he take that? I really don't know, man. Like, I don't have a lot of optimism with contracts and them going well with the Toronto Maple Leafs. I could see it being like a 5-year, $7 million, something like that. I think even if they bridge it, it would be rather expensive for the Leafs. Like, if they did a 2-year, maybe 5.5, something like that. 3 years, who knows, 6.5, and then at that point you might as well start talking like the 8 years and where do we go. It's gonna be tough, man. Like, with the cap going up, the smart move for him and what his agent is probably pushing is sign a bridge and then take him to the cleaners for 8 years and 2 years when the cap has exploded. And maybe a superstar has left. Maybe Marner's not here no more and there's more money for you by that point. So I don't know. I don't think it's smart for him to sign a long year big contract, but it'd be great for the Leafs to get him for 8x8, 8.5. I'll even take $9 million times 8 years. I will take that for Matthew Knies. I think he is that good and will be that important of a player for a playoff bound team. You're gonna need that power forward. You need that big dominating fucking force, and I think he's bigger and badder than Hyman. He's got hopefully more offensive potential, at least as a Toronto Maple Leaf. I don't know about fucking Edmonton Oiler version Hyman over there, 50 fucking goals. Now, that might never happen again. And who knows, maybe Matthew Knies does evolve into a 50-goal power forward for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Wouldn't that be amazing? But yeah, we'll leave it at Matthew Knies for the restricted free agents. Now, again, he is restricted. Teams can come after him, but I don't think they'll win the battle against the Leafs. They could absolutely just at worst, they could cut bait with Tavares, be like, nope, we got to keep Knies, and sorry, kiddo, and who knows. So I think Knies will be safe from that. There's probably teams sniffing, definitely would love. Lots of teams would love to have themselves a Matthew Knies. I just don't think they'll be able to take him away from the Leafs without paying a lot for it. They're going to have to give up a lot of draft capital. And, yeah, man, but I'm not worried about Knies leaving, but I am worried about how that contract's going to go out. What do you think is going to go down with the Matthew Knies contract? How much is he going to get? how much are the Leafs going to overpay, or will the Leafs actually get a good deal here on a young potential star player? And they need one, honestly. They really need a Dallas Star level fucking home run on a young player, man. Like, that would be so sick. All right, I think we have enough time. We'll save unrestricted free agents for another time. Let's talk more restricted free agents. Who's up next? JJ Peterka, coming out of the Buffalo Sabres. All right, this is going to be interesting. He's making nothing right now, and he had the 28-goal season last year, 50 points in the 23-24 year, and he was like the only bright spot on the team last year. Everyone was rather down for Buffalo. They're down again this year. He's, he could be looking at a Dylan Cousins level extension. I don't think he'll get 8. Looks like he's going to get 7. That's what it looks like they're talking about here. $7 million for Peterka. I can see the exact same situation playing out for Peterka as it did for Cousins. They give him money. He doesn't really start living up to that money, but everyone knows he's got all this potential, and then he gets yeeted out of Buffalo, and he becomes what he's supposed to become somewhere else. So that's what I predict for Mr. Peterka. Hopefully you can get out of Buffalo, and things go good for you. You got Keandre Miller, like, that's good. That is a fairly interesting one because he's had a pretty fucking down year, even though, like, man, all the talk about this, like, I remember, like, this guy's going to make $9 million, $18 million, so much money for Keandre. He's amazing, but this year, not so great. He doesn't really put up a whole lot of points. He's big, he's strong, he's faced. Like, he's a great player. Is he a right shot? I don't see anything about a right shot. That's generally the first thing they put down if they're talking about a defenseman, is if they're right shot. That's the first thing right shot defenseman. That's $2 million extra dollars right there. And he's only making just under $4 million now. He's definitely going to get a raise, that's for sure. But how far does that go? I'm thinking maybe $7 to $8 million range. Is that what the Rangers would want to pay? He's definitely not going to make more than Adam Fox, and he's definitely not at the level of Adam Fox. I don't know, man. I don't. He could go somewhere else. Someone could scoop him up, but I doubt it. Who else is on this list? Ooh, all right, Lucas Dostal. We'll finish here with Lucas Dostal. He's making nothing, and he is ready to make something. That's for sure. And he is playing out of his mind this year. So, what are they going to get this guy? Is he going to sign a long-term deal with the Ducks? I mean, for the Ducks' sake, that would be amazing. This guy looks like their goalie. This guy looks like this generation's goaltender for the Anaheim Ducks. This guy could be he's 25 years old. He could be the goaltender for the next 10 plus years. So easily they should be looking to sign this guy for an 8-year deal. Is he worthy of that? There's not many goalies that get that. You're looking at the Shesterkins. But man, he has been fucking good. He has been great. He's played so good this year on a team that's not very good. So imagine if the Ducks start to get good, and everything looks pretty good with the Ducks, man. You look at their young defensemen, you look at these young up-and-coming forwards, everything's looking pretty good for the Ducks. They've been adding some good veteran leadership. They brought in Gudis, they brought in Trouba. I think things are looking good here. Honestly, I think they need to change up the coaching and, bring some love back into the game for this team, and I think they're just gonna be gone. So I think I don't say this often about goalies, but I think they should go for the 8 years on Dostal. Maybe 8x8. Is that going to get it done? I think Dostal would kind of be crazy not to take it, and I think the Ducks are a little crazy to offer it, but I think that might be the right move here. He looks really good, man. He looks really, really good, but it's goaltenders, right? And he's playing for money right now, and yeah, he's playing out of his mind. Will he play like this every year if he's, feeling comfy? 8-year extension, $8 million. I'm pretty happy. I don't have to play amazing every night now like I am this season, so it's risky. They could easily just do the common 5x5, 6x6, 3x, who knows? Maybe they do a bridge. I think that would be ridiculous. That would be the worst thing for Anaheim to do. Probably the best thing for Dostal to do. Maybe. I don't know. Bridges are very risky for him, and that would take him into unrestricted. So at this point, I'm thinking it's going to be an 8-year deal, and I think it's going to be like $8 million plus. And it's going to be risky, but looking good for Dostal. So that's my prediction for Dostal. $8 million times 8 years. I think that would be a win for the Ducks. At least in the short term, it would look very, very good. We'll see how that would play out in the long run. He's been great this year, but you know how goalies go. They can be great one year, out of the league the next. So there we go. I think that's everything I want to discuss on today's podcast. Let us see here. Do I have anything else? I think that's it. Yeah, okay. So there we go, everybody. Now, I've had some computer issues this week, so hence there has not been a WrestleCast. I will probably get that done here later today. I was debating, is it worth putting out a recap when it's halfway through the week and we're already, all the other shows have already began, but I already have it all written up. I watched all the shows, so why not talk about it? So I'll throw up the late WrestleCast later on, hopefully tonight, and have that out for you so we can discuss the things that have been going on in the WWE and AEW, because it is a fairly important, at least for AEW, because it's following their big pay-per-view, so some gears starting to move there in AEW, so we'll discuss it. We'll discuss it later, so apologies for the lateness, but it was the silliest fix, too. I felt so stupid, but my PC wouldn't fucking start running, and I was like, what the hell's going on? I'm looking up all this shit. Turns out I just had to unplug my USB. I have a USB little fucking memory card. I didn't even see it. I knew this has happened before. I unplug all my USB stuff and then it works. But I missed this freaking this fucking little memory card because it blended in with the computer. It was really small and tucked in there and I didn't see it. And the second I unplugged it, boom, the computer ran I was like, fuck. So that was a wasted 30 hours. I was just like, what is going on? I let it run in self-diagnostics for the day. I went to work and I came back and it was still, I was like, oh shit. All right, something's wrong. And yeah, it's all fixed now. We're fixed now. We're in good. In terms of the GamerCast this week, I think I'm doing Mario Party. Probably Mario Party 2. I'll discuss Mario Party 1, but mainly Mario Party 2, I think. That's what I want to do. There was a Mario Day not too long ago, and I'm not done with Yakuza yet, and I don't want to do another list video because I just did a list, so let's talk about motherfucking Mario Party. All right, y'all? So we'll do that. We'll have the WrestleCast coming up, and there we go. So, oh my goodness. I really want to join Blue Sky. I'm thinking I'll get that done here soon, and I'll have a Blue Sky link for everyone. So you can fucking join me or whatever the hell, and you can get, I'll put out updates. I didn't even put out an update on Twitter, hey, my PC's down, and I'll have the episodes out late, because I don't know, man, Twitter's just dead, and I want to move on to other things. So I think I'll keep the Twitter, I guess, but it's not active or anything, so I'll probably just shift over to Blue Sky, I guess. That seems like the place to be. So we'll do that. And there we go, everybody. So thank you again so much for listening. You the best. You want to be even more of the best. Make sure you're reviewing and sharing the podcast. Share it around with a few of your few thousand of your closest friends and enemies and all that great stuff. I upload all these episodes to the YouTube channel, Gamer GX Videos. Go check out the link in the description. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, please, and thank you. And if you want a question answered live on the pod, drop a comment on one of the YouTube epis, and I'll answer your question live, preferably about wrestling, video games, or hockey. I'll try anything you throw at me, and I'll shut you out, answer your question on the show, and that'd be a lot of fun. So there we go, everybody. And thank you one more time, and we'll be back again with some GX Plus Cast.